Chat, supposedly the new anemo character is a catalyst. Yeah, Prune. Prune is a catalyst. Oh, 6.5 abyss second half. Wait, we can take a look at that too. Pyro damage bonus and lunar bloom damage. Okay. Is this the Nicole Mawiko rerun, by the way? Yeah. Okay. That indicates that Nicole's thing probably scales with pyro damage, right? Because we know that it doesn't scale with her crit damage, but so it wasn't like entirely clear if it scaled with any damage percent and whose damage per se would scale with. But if this is the abyss for her release patch, then it's probably just damage per se. Wasn't it supposed to be a quill-like effect? Not entirely. It's a coordinated attack that uses your on-fielder's stats, but it's a pyro hit that doesn't apply pyro. That's just quills? No. Quills are not a separate number and are always obviously the same element because they just increase the one number you already have. Like Tingyun and Star Rail. So true. Honkai Star Rail. Super Hev. That's cool. Okay. Okay, so we got the new mushroom. Wait, did I see that right? Oh, okay. I thought this was second side, and I was like, are they really giving a fucking 300 Dendro Res enemy on the same side as the Dendro Shield? But no, it's a different side. Okay, that makes sense. Shroom is probably a joke in Abyss, honestly. That's usually how it is with the new bosses. First half is so free. Yeah. We have kind of reached the point where Primo Geovishap is a harder boss than a lot of the other bosses, just because team DPS is so high that having to wait like 10 seconds for the Primo Vishap to get up is like half of a boss's health bar. Yeah, I wonder if this is hinting at Prune having grouping. Maybe not, though. Maybe they're already leaving Varka behind and they're just gonna assume you play Venti carry. I thought the little boo-boo is replacing Venti. Yeah. Because Nicole will make Venti carry better if she's a quill with her. Again, I don't know why you guys are insisting about the quill thing. Like, they're not quills. Like, according to the latest leaks, they are not quills. It's just off-field damage that uses your carry's crit. But it doesn't care about how, like, often you're attacking or like, it's just off-field damage. But the crit stats use your carry's crit stats. I think leakers don't know how quills work. Okay, but, like, there's not knowing how quills work, and there's saying a coordinated attack like Singto and Yelan when it's a quill. Like, if it is a quill, it's because that leaker was just lying. Right? It's not because they didn't know what they were talking about. Like, quills don't look like Singto or Yelan. So it wouldn't make any sense if it was quills. I mean, I say that, but maybe the buff is like a true percentage increase. And it's like, you deal pyro damage equal to 20% of the damage your other attacks are doing. Like, maybe it's just that. I don't fucking know. Perhaps. That's not really like quills. That's kind of just like Yone E. With Linnea releases, Zibai the strongest DPS by far at lowest investments. It depends on how you define lowest investments, right? Because Zibai's premium team with Linnea obviously has 3 5-star characters. C6 4-stars Klugi. I think it's a bit less unrealistic for Linnea if you're assuming the full premium because Idloa is on her and on like both on Zibai and the Linnea banner. Is Zibai premium better than C2 Mawiko Overload? No. But I would say it's close enough behind that most people will see better results with Zibai. Like, my Mawiko Overload, if I had it at C2, would probably be slightly ahead of Zibai. Yeah, it depends on what platform you use to like share the showcase that you recorded when you recorded the team. If your showcase goes on YouTube, then Zibai is better. If it goes on Bilibili, then Mawiko is better. Why? I mean, there's this bit in the community about the Bilibili showcases being people that are really fucking good at the game. So a little bit of confirmation bias, obviously, because like if a showcase is impressive enough to transcend the language barrier and make its way to the EN side of the community from Bilibili when it's titled and recorded in Chinese, then it's probably really fucking good already, right? So you kind of filter out to the unimpressive stuff. I found this on the KQM Discord. That looks so fake, but should we take a look at it? It's from the same leaker, really? Sure, let's take a look at it. The difference between Hexerai and non-Hexerai teams is noticeable, somewhat similar to Eon-san. So, like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, are we talking about Eon-san without a Night Soul carry, or are we talking about Eon-san without a carry that moves? And, like, how little movement are we assuming if we're talking about, like, I don't know. The interval between instances of additional damage is much longer than expected. I mean, sure. At base, the additional damage is not as strong as Farina's. Wait, she's a fraud. What? Or are they saying that this is the personal damage? Is this the personal damage? Or is this damage percent? This is the personal damage? It's probably the personal damage, right? Okay, well, she's not supposed to be a personal damage dealer from what I understand, so that's fine. Who cares? Like, but the increase for C1 is very large. C1 is a key constellation. I mean, this is like, she's probably just not meant to be a damage dealer at C0, and then C1 is like plus 10, like plus 5 to 10% team DPS because it makes her actually deal damage, and like it'll triple her damage, but she does nothing to begin with, so it's not actually that big, you know? So I don't know how much I trust that. At C0, the attack buff is flat attack, not percentage based, and its value is lower than a fully optimized Bennett. Okay. Is that team-wide though? Or is that only to the on-fielder? Oh. At C0, the attack buff only applies to the on-field character. At C2, it becomes team-wide. I really hope that's fake. Jesus Christ. Oh my god, I really fucking hope that's fake. Jesus Christ. So are you telling me she doesn't replace Bennett, she replaces Durin? Because that's what this shit is looking like to me right now. Wait, no! Because she doesn't apply on-field pyro, right? I guess they do say the difference between Hexarai and non-Hexarai teams is noticeable. I don't know, man. C4 may include... Okay, who cares? A signature and artifact set. The signature weapon is a standard support weapon that increases damage. The artifact set works on marked targets, but it seems only Hexarai characters can fully utilize it. Utilize it. That word wasn't that hard compared to yesterday when I tried to pronounce fetishize, and I just could not do it. And I spent like 10 minutes trying to pronounce it properly. Fetish is... Why is that such a hard word to say? From the fetishization? Yuri fetishiz... Fuck! No, it was fetishization. You're right. Anyways, it's unclear whether non-Hexarai characters can fully benefit, and this point is still debated. Okay. Numbers are basically finalized. That doesn't help me, though. Wow, congrats, they have decided on the numbers, but what are they? Okay, whatever. Additional notes, the visual effects of the additional damage are said to be very impressive and have been emphasized multiple times. Wow. Her additional damage interval and the Hexarai restrictions are notable. Hexarai teams can fully benefit, while standard teams gain less. The comparison to Aeon-San refers to step-based scaling. What the fuck does step-based scaling mean? And in what way does Aeon-San have it? Like, because you have to do steps? Like, you have to, like, movement? But, what? Maybe the 1, 2, 3, 4 Hexarai? But in what way is that comparable to Aeon-San? What? Okay, whatever. In terms of overall value, she may even outperform Venti. What? Oh, okay, they're talking about Prune. Okay, never mind. I skip. Okay, my bad. At C0, the attack buff mainly benefits... What? But you said that already. It's fine. Okay. Regarding Varka and Prune, whether low investment Varka can perform well still depends on Prune. She likely follows a typical 4-star support design where C6 provides a significant boost. Exact values are unknown, but she should be clearly stronger than older 4-star teammates. In terms of overall value, she may even outperform Venti. Lohan works with Denial of Darkness Durin. His output can reach a level comparable to a typical high investment C6 level setup with roughly... What the fuck does that mean? With roughly half of the damage coming from burst windows, with proper optimization, rotation could be shortened to around 17 seconds. Durin cooldown is 18. What? Dude, this has to be rage bait, man. Yeah, maybe he gives cooldown reduction. Or maybe you play double anemo. Maybe. Oh, maybe the cooldown reduction from Nicole leak was true, actually. Who knows? The issue with the VV set interacting with Pyro is unlikely to be fixed for 4-star characters in practice. This setup is essentially a direct upgrade, allowing the wind set effect to be triggered from off-field. What does any of this mean, actually? Leno in the strongbox. That's what matters, though. Maybe the real leaks was the confusion gained along the way. True. Oh, by the way, chat, what's the name of the website that has Stygian results? It's just StygianOnslaught.com. That's crazy. Or Stygian.mo. I am really curious. Okay. There aren't really submissions for Chasca Dyer here. Limbo, what do you think about Chasca? Yay or nay, is she mid? I want a committal, legally binding statement from you right now. Very yes. Okay. Can I quote you on that? Yeah? Okay, bet. I think the biggest issue with Chasca is that wheelchair cores have reached the point where they do so much that you kind of just get more damage out of bringing one more support than you do out of bringing a character like Chasca. So she doesn't even feel like a good wheelchair driver anymore. There's Chasca Dyer clears here. Take a look. What is that? It's just... Okay, it's just something that has a bunch of... Yeah, okay. So, Chasca. So the green is reasonable, clear, low invest possible, few issues. And yellow is it clears, but it's kind of fake, right? So like C2 Chasca and whatnot. And red is, it's basically just whale, Omega whale bullshit. And she only has one green. Well, 2 greens, but one of these greens is this, which is the easiest Stygian boss of all time, so I don't think it really counts. Okay, interesting. If they did it probably, why wouldn't it count? We're not saying your clear doesn't count if you use Chasca with X and Y situation, like with X and Y things. We're saying it doesn't count as a supporting argument for Chasca being particularly meta, right? I do think this clear kind of does count. Like this green clear. Yeah, like this clear is real, because like it is dire after all. So like allowing one or two SIGs and like early cons that do about as much for your team as a SIG, I think is reasonable. But the thing is, like, yeah, this is Papilla. Papilla is the dream boss for Chasca, and it's also not among the harder of the bosses that we've seen. So many, yeah, like you can see, right? You look at just the sheer density of green on Papilla. So being green on Papilla isn't that much. You look at the other bosses that have a really high density of green, and Chasca isn't part of that density, you know? So it's like, yeah, it's rough. I thought she would be at least green on Drake. No. Chasca isn't actually that good on Drake. Because if you're playing Chasca on Drake, what ends up happening is you have a team that is always doing about 2/3 of the damage it's supposed to do. Because one of your elements, one of the 3 elements that are your damage, is just doing nothing. Like, sure, Chasca teams get nerfed less than, like, if you try to play Mawika Overload with Auron, right? But the reality is that you want to have some form of dual carry stuff against Aeon Blight Drake. You kind of need to have some form of what the hell is the Zibai green team for Drake? Is simply is Flint's there to simply bait Electro Res? I mean, yeah, you're like, the idea for this one is lunar power creep is massive, and like a dogshit Flynn's team of 3-unit Flynn's Columbina Shilonen is more than enough to reach the DPS requirements. And a dogshit Zibai team of Zibai, Shilonen, Columbina is also more than enough. Why wouldn't you use Inefa instead? I guess you could, honestly. I'm not sure how reliably Columbina does geo damage when you use Inefa, though. Like, usually it doesn't matter, because the ratio is the same for the geo, for the Lunar Crystallize and the Lunar Charge on Columbina. One of them is 15 times 1.6, so 24. And the other one is 8 times 3, so 24. And she doesn't get any Lunar Charge specific or Lunar Crystallize specific damage percent other than like the True Multiplier passive that both reactions have. So they will do literally the same damage. So it doesn't matter which one actually gets chosen. But against Aeon Blight Drake, well, it has massive resistances to the element you're not currently doing. And I don't know if you reliably get the Geo version of Columbina through Binefa with just Zibai as Geo application. Maybe you do, but I'm not confident. I mean, at the end of the day, right, these things, like, they're in, like, the text is in black because there's no link to it, because obviously Zibai wasn't out when, you know, like, Drake was here, right? They're looking at theoretical teams that would be able to do it. Maybe Inefa gets there slightly faster, but it'll be basically the same. Looking at that spreadsheet, maybe Kanich is a fraud. I mean, yeah. Bro, I told you guys! He is! No, it is actually kind of crazy that Kanich looks a lot worse than Client here. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because, like, Mawika. So, like, it does make sense, but, like, still. Yeah, Clyde, look inside. Oh.
Deuce on the loose! Deuce on the loose!
Deuce on the loose!